Hello, I'm Paul Hender, Head of Insight for Cision EMEA and a member of the AMEC Integrated Metrics Group that worked on the Integrated Evaluation Framework. This video is a practical tutorial on how to use the framework, which is available free to use on AMEC's website. The framework is an intuitive, user-friendly set of steps to put best practice evaluation, as highlighted by the Barcelona principles, into practice. The framework was developed in collaboration with industry measurement experts, academics, and comms professionals to ensure that not only was it academically sound, but that it worked in the real world across all types of communication activity in many different contexts. The best way to illustrate this is to give you a walkthrough of how to build an example framework. You can get to the framework section of the AMEC website directly using the URL www.amec.org.com/framework, or you can navigate from the AMEC homepage by clicking on the framework link in the main menu. The framework is available in multiple languages using the flags at the top of the page. If we want Spanish, we click on the Spanish flag. But for this tutorial, we'll stick with English. Under the framework option on the black menu, we have an introduction, which gives a background to the framework and why it is important. We can then get to the framework tool itself by clicking on Interactive Framework. If you have not used the tool before, you will need to set up an account. The reason for this is so that any work you do can be saved and retrieved at a future date. I already have an account, so I'll log in with my email and password. Once we have logged in, you know you've logged in because if you look at the top left-hand side, it says Welcome Paul. And if you click on that area, you can see the frameworks that you've already had set up. You can create a new framework by clicking a Create a New One link. We can give it a name, so I'll give this one Test Framework. Create. And then you have a framework that you can then build. But to save time, I've got one that we built earlier. So if we go back into Welcome Paul, we can see here's one that we built earlier called Slimming World Dream Weight Campaign. I'll load this in. You can save up to 10 frameworks under one account. So this example is one we have built for our client Slimming World for their Dream Weight campaign. This example won an AMEC Gold Award for the best use of a measurement framework, so I think it's a good one to use. As a bit of background, World is one of the two big slimming clubs in the UK, along with Weight Watchers. The weight loss industry has become big business, but it also has an increasingly important role in society. Obesity has become one of the most significant health issues in recent years. According to government data, more than half of women and more than 2/3 of men are overweight. Public health costs are projected to reach 10 billion by 2050, with wider costs to society aimed to grow to 50 billion. Slimming World has 900,000 members, and they use a variety of services from slimming groups, of which there are 16,000 across the country, the Slimming World app, and Slimming World magazine, which features healthy eating recipes and positive case studies of people who have successfully lost weight. The most important time of year for Slimming World to recruit new members is the new year following the excesses of Christmas. For the most recent new year, Slimming World launched its Dream Weight campaign. Now, the starting point with the framework and the keystone that underpins everything else is to be clear about the objectives of their campaign, which is this red square here. Under objectives, we have organizational objectives and communication objectives, and one flows naturally from the other. So for Slimming World, the organizational objectives are to help as many people as possible to achieve their dream weight, to become the world's leading authority in weight management, and to build success through customer delight. So in other words, to build customer advocacy. The communications objectives are then to support the customer journey from increasing awareness to increasing positive reputation of Slimming World, increasing understanding of how Slimming World works, increasing purchase consideration for people who want to lose weight, increase visits to the website, increase the number of people searching for their nearest group once they've got to the website, and finally, to increase the number of people joining Slimming World. Once we have our objectives, we can then move on to inputs in order to understand the audiences we are focusing on and the strategy we're going to use to support our objectives. For the Dream Weight campaign, we have a number of audiences characterized by demographics and lifestyle. Importantly, as well as female audiences, we're explicitly calling men aged 25 to 50 and who would not have described themselves as fitness enthusiasts. This male audience has been historically underrepresented in slimming clubs, and given that about 2/3 of men are overweight, they represent a significant opportunity. The strategy was based around research from the Journal of Nutrition and Dietetics, which showed that the counterintuitive finding that people who had more ambitious weight targets actually tended to lose more weight than those with more modest targets. This research would be backed up by success stories of people who had achieved their dream weight, including the winners of a competition to find Mr. Sleek and Miss Slinky, recipes and eating plans, and free membership through reader offers in Target magazines. The communications activities should then reflect these inputs. Now here we have the option of stating activities across multiple marketing channels, from paid, earned, shared, and owned. The Dream Weight campaign was primarily an earned media campaign, which is why the activity categorized under E for earned. If stages 1 to 3 represent the planning and implementation of the campaign, stages 4 to 7 represent the measurement. What worked, what didn't, what was the impact on our audiences, what was the business impact, and what have we learned so that we can be more successful in future campaigns. Stage 4 is for the media outputs from the campaign using metrics that reflect both quantity and quality. So if we look here, we can see the media coverage we generated media coverage in 607 articles. Now on its own, that doesn't mean a lot, so let's move on. Well, that coverage reached 66% of UK adults, reach to men increased from 40% to 67%. In terms of quality, 58% of coverage delivered a key message, 29% of coverage featured a spokesperson, which is an increase from 22% before the campaign started. And 35% of coverage featured a call to action, such as a mention of the Slimming World website, which is an increase from 19% before the campaign started. We can measure the quantity and quality of media outputs, but it's important to know if this had any effect on the people we have reached. So this is where we need to move on to outtakes. Have we increased awareness, understanding, or consideration amongst our target audiences? For the Dream Weight campaign, we conducted pre- and post-campaign surveys so that we could measure the changes in these outtakes. As part of the survey, we asked if people had recently read about Slimming World so that we could link the response back to the media activity. 74% of people said that they'd read about Slimming World, with 54% saying that they'd read positive things. The percentage of people with a good or very good knowledge of Slimming World increased from 27% to 35%, and the percentage of people saying that Slimming World had a positive reputation increased from 61% to 73%. The biggest increase came from men, who went from the minority thinking Slimming World had a positive reputation to a clear majority. The percentage of people associating Slimming World with helping to achieve their dream weight increased from 56% to 68%, with the biggest increases coming from men. And finally, the percentage of people who said they'd be likely to use Slimming World to lose weight increased from 36% to 45%. So far we've seen that the campaign achieved in terms of quantity and quality of media coverage, and how this affected people's awareness, understanding, and consideration of Slimming World. But we don't yet know if this has resulted in any tangible change in behavior. So for this, we need to move on to outcomes. By using website analytics, we were able to see the effect of the campaign on people visiting the Slimming World website and searching for their local slimming group. Over the course of the campaign, there were more than 8 million sessions on the public website, which is almost double that achieved in the same period in the previous year. Specifically, the Dream Weight research story achieved a peak of more than 1,000 website sessions on the 29th of December, when the story launched and resulted in a record conversion rate. Meanwhile, the Mr. Sleek and Miss Slinky stories also achieved peaks in the number of sessions with significant increases in conversion rates. And finally, there was an 18% year-on-year increase in the number of new members joining through reader offers in newspaper or consumer magazines. So if we bring this all together, what can we say the impact has been had on the organisation? Well, we can say that there were significant increases in the positive reputation amongst our target audiences. The percentage of people considering Slimming World for weight loss increased from around a third to around a half. There were a record number of website sessions, and we've seen significant spikes in website conversion rate through the campaign stories. We had a record number of new members joining through reader offers. And in terms of learnings, the measurement has helped the Slimming World comms team identify the most effective media targeting and activity to deliver the strategic goals of increasing reputation and attracting new members. Jenny Caven is the head of external affairs at Slimming World, and this is what she had to say about the Dream Weight campaign. January is crucial for us. By measuring changes in brand recognition and reputation, tracking website visits and sign-ups, and linking this to media analysis, we're able to understand how our messaging is resonating, who we're influencing, and the impact of our communications. We are now taking the learnings into our future planning. This year, we're expanding further outside of the UK, and so helping to prove that PR can drive results will ensure that earned media remains a key component of the strategy to enhance reputation, our reputation, and business growth. Once we have a finished framework, we should save it so that we can return to it in the future. We can then press Submit to see the final framework. If we then want to download an offline version as a PDF, we can do this with the Download PDF button. Now, although in this example we're looking back on a campaign that has happened in the past, the real value comes from using the framework in real time, to use it to plan activity in advance, to refer to it as activity develops over time, and to use it retrospectively as an evaluation tool to highlight successes as well as opportunities for improvement. The ability to save the data from the framework allows you to refer back to it whenever you want. The framework can be used for specific campaigns, as we've seen here with the Dream Weight campaign, but it also can be used for ongoing communications programs, where you need to continually align activity and measurement to an ongoing set of communications objectives. It can also be used for a variety of sectors and communications functions, from commercial to public sector, consumer to business, lead generation to brand building, campaigning to lobbying. For more information, there's a lot of reference collateral under the resources section of the site, which includes a taxonomy of terms, guidelines on how to set objectives, and a number of additional case studies. I hope you found this tutorial useful. My recommendation is to roll your sleeves up and get stuck in. Get started with building a framework and see how it works for you. Thank you, and goodbye.